Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting. And today, why ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC are killing cable TV. Comcast is a great example of that. We'll tell you what they're doing that's absolutely just killing the future of traditional broadcast TV on cable television. We'll also take a look at DirecTV and Friendly adding some new channels, along with small streaming services surviving very well in the world of cord cutting as major ones struggle. We'll tell you what's happening here and a whole lot more in a quick minute. If you want to learn more about any of these stories, check out the show notes down below and in the first pinned comment. I'll put a link to each story so you can read them for yourself. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. With that said, let's dive into it. Comcast is now charging over $55 a month in some areas for local channels like ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC, along with its RSN. This comes as, let's be honest, these fees are absolutely killing the cable companies. For example, Comcast advertises its base package, for example, around $60. Well, you add these fees and suddenly you're over $100 in actual cost. I always struggle with these fees because of one thing. You advertise these channels as included. It's not like I can say, no, I don't want ABC. I don't care about ABC. I get that with an antenna. Not an option. You can't, if the RSN's included in your bundle, you're paying the RSN fee. You can't say, I don't want Bally Sports. Unless you go to a smaller package that maybe doesn't have other channels you want. That's why I've always hated these fees, because you market a channel package at a particular price, and then you force them to pay additional fees on top of the marketed price. Now, in fairness to Comcast and other cable providers who do this, the reality is local television stations are continuously demanding more and more money, and cable providers are passing that along to their customers. Now, I would prefer them to do that in such a way that they just included it rather than this additional hidden fee. But the real issue here is local stations. It puts Comcast and others in a tough spot. If you don't have the locals, you lose customers. But locals know that, and they're using that to jack up the cost of television so that they get more and more money. They understand that fewer and fewer people are paying for cable TV, so instead of accepting less money, they're just charging the remaining people even more money to offset the loss of all the millions of people who've ditched cable television and become cord cutters. This is killing cable TV. This is one of the reasons why it's so high. Is 20, 30 years ago, these fees were almost nothing or nothing 30 some plus years ago before they could charge cable companies for these for the privilege to carry their channels. This is killing cable television. For all the talk of cord cutting, still today, the number one reason is price, followed by not using it that much. Price is being driven up primarily by two big things: sports channels and local television channels, and sports, I would include RSNs with that. I think it's kind of short-sighted for these cable networks and broadcast television networks to say, we're just going to get everything we can right now. Because it's kind of, you're making money now, but you're going to hurt yourself in the long run because it's going to rapidly increase the rate of cord cutting. Now, pricing on these fees depends on where you live. I've seen other ones where it's just in the $40 range. It depends on where you live, how many RSNs you have, how many local television stations you have. The truth is, though, I've said before, I'll say again, these high cost fees, these channels who are forcing cable TV to go higher and higher, Disney going dark on several of them, and other networks going dark to demand more money, is the reason cord cutting is growing as fast as it is. It's the reason that cord cutting will continue to grow. Adding all these other benefits, adding in streaming services, doing everything else will not change the core fact that the high cost of these fees and the overall high cost of cable TV is driving people to cheaper options, especially in the on-demand world. What do you think? Do you blame Comcast or do you blame the local television stations? Well, both share some of the blame. I do think that local television stations get a kind of an easy pass here when they're a big reason behind the high cost of cable television. If you want to learn more about this, check out the show notes. I have a link to it in the show notes down below. All right, if you're a DirecTV or DirecTV Stream customer, in our next story, you're going to notice a new weather channel. The Fox Weather Channel is now live there. Of course, it's available for free on certain platforms, but now it's integrated in there. You can DVR it and more. It's joining a growing number of competitive channels to the Weather Channel out there, trying to fight against the Weather Channel's dominance for many, many years. It's kind of not what it once was. Fox Weather's launched just a handful of years ago, has seen rapid growth, and is now available on DirecTV and DirecTV Stream. If you're in our next one, if you have a Plex server and you want to get the lifetime pass, right now during Plex Pro Week, you can get 20% off a lifetime pass of Plex for its Pro features. Link in the show notes if you want to learn more about that bundle. Hey, if you're a Friendly TV customer, it seems like they've added a new channel. The Ion Plus channel has been added. Now, last year, Ion and Ion Mysteries joined Friendly TV. Friendly TV is a cheap live TV service that focuses on more family-friendly, not really having any news, not really having any sports channels, primarily focusing on the ability to have all the other stuff out there. Now, with this, you get a ton of content, including Bull, 48 Hours, Murdoch Mysteries, and the new MacGyver, not the classic MacGyver show, but the newer one is on there. Ion Plus first launched in 2007 as Ion Life, and then as a health and lifestyle programming. It was kind of rebranded, redone in 2019, and itself turned into the Ion Plus channel. If you remember Ion Life, that's the Ion Plus now. And it shifted the channel's focus on more day-long marathons, popular drama series, and reportedly helped it expand its viewership. Friendly TV, if you are a fan of it, check it out. Pricing starts under $10 a month for a lot of these. Includes Hallmark Channel, MeTV Tunes, and more. Now, one more Ion channel included with that. Speaking of small services like Friendly, small price but great service there, there's a new report out that says small streaming services have defied expectations and are growing. Now, we've heard a lot of talk of consolidation. Roku, one of their senior executives, came out recently, said he expects to see a growing number of these streaming services combined. I fully expect that too. But there is a report, and I'll explain why I also think this is very true out there, that the so-called niche streaming services or specialty streaming services, these ones dedicated to very specific topics, maybe it's anime, that's pretty broad there, and honestly when you look at it, but maybe it's a fishing streaming service, or maybe it's a drag racing streaming service, or a service dedicated to a lesser known sport, are actually seeing very strong growth. That's the great thing about cord cutting. Used to be you had a handful of channels and what was there was there. If you were an anime fan, you may get an hour or two a day on Cartoon Network's Toonami block back when that first launched in the 90s, and that was like all you got. Or unless you spent a lot of money on DVDs or VHSs back in the day. Well, now these streaming services have a wide range of interests on pretty much everything, from fishing to outdoor sports to lifestyle type channels and more, that allows you to get the kind of content you want. These low-cost streaming services have seemed to have found a very strong following, allowing them to see strong growth. Now, I still do expect to see consolidation, especially when it comes to things like Disney, consolidating services down. Paramount's been doing that. Warner Bros. Discovery just announced its niche Boomerang classic cartoon streaming services folding into Max. I fully expect to see that become more and more popular too as bigger companies consolidate down. Now, that doesn't mean independent ones are not going to be successful, and I think they are. Much like how podcasting gave a voice to topics and content that major radio would never have paid any attention to, small streaming services have allowed the same thing to happen, and I expect it to become very successful. I think things like the Big Ten Network is a great example of a major company doing a small niche streaming service. They run a BTN, a Plus. It's dedicated to all those kind of sports you don't see on traditional television from Big Ten member schools. That's a great example of this. Speaking of sports in our next story, if you are a YouTube Premium member, I am. Honestly, I love it because I got the family plan and my daughter doesn't see ads. Well, you can get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket if you are a YouTube TV subscriber or just directly through YouTube. Great deal. You have to be a YouTube Premium customer. I actually love it. It's always weird to me now when I see all the ads on YouTube. I love the fact that I'm getting mine ad-free and I have for the last few years. Initially got it for the kids. Discovered it makes YouTube much more watchable. But that's for me. I think personally it's what money well spent for my family. And in our last story up of the day, if you want that YouTube TV deal with NFL Sunday Ticket, link in the show notes with full details on how to get it. Peacock, according to a Nielsen report, is one of the few streaming services seeing very strong growth this year, though a lot of it seems to be related to this summer's Summer Olympics, raising the question of will Peacock keep that momentum going, or will people unsubscribe en masse? Peacock saw very strong growth in its subscribers in the last 2 months, thanks to both the Summer Olympics and the Paralympics, helping it be one of the few streaming services out there with significant growth in 2024. With that, the Olympics helped drive a 39% increase in viewership, reaching a new high of 2.1% of all television viewing coming from Peacock. Now with that though, overall television has grown slightly, but most of it going to two major topics in the month of August: the end of the Olympics, Paralympics, and the Democratic National Convention. We saw a similar bump when it was the Republican one too, but both of those are now over. Now we are having fall sports. It does raise a question though, how will Peacock be able to hold on to this? More interestingly, is we're seeing widespread stagnation in the number of streaming subscription and viewership across most major streaming players in the market right now. With that, I think we're seeing a maturity of the market for one thing. For two, during 2020, the number of streaming services people subscribe to grew. Well, since then, it's slowly been falling back to pre-2020 levels, back to the 3 to 4 streaming services paid the average American pays for now. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if that falls to 2 to 3, as many cord cutters are taking advantage of cheaper streaming services. We'll have to keep a very close eye on Peacock. I do expect they'll have a drop-off. Question is, how big of a drop-off would that be? How many people signed up for the Olympics and then decided, wow, there's a lot of other good content at Peacock. Maybe I'll hang around for a while, binge watch a bunch of this. Did you subscribe to Peacock for the Olympics? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.